Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Katie. I'm a registered dietitian with White Earth Public Health, and I'm coming to you from my kitchen to prepare another healthy meal while trying to be easy on your budget. This week we're going to talk about sheet pan meals. We have already covered this, but I really wanted to come back because, like I said before, these types of meals have so many healthy options, and you can really swap out any item and use what you have and make it to your liking. Also, you can make these to feed just a few or feed a bunch. So with that being said, this week we are going to make a zesty chicken with potatoes and green beans. So let's get started. So to prepare our meal, it's really simple. So the recipe itself calls for 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, but I had some really big chicken breasts, so I just have some boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I cut them into quarters. So mainly the name of the game of this recipe is just to make what you need. So now I'm just gonna kind of split my pan and put my chicken just down the middle. And remember, any meat choice works for this recipe. This is just a make it how you like it kind of meal, and this is just kind of how we like it. So I'm just gonna spit all these in. Now to the vegetable part of the meal. My first part, I went with potatoes, and I did go ahead with a combination of some white and sweet potatoes. I went, it's about 5 total potatoes, medium-sized potatoes. I did not peel my white potatoes, but I did go ahead and peel my sweet potatoes. So I just cut them up into a little bit bigger than bite-sized pieces, just so they're all uniform, and you can make it how you like it. So the idea is just kind of to put it on one side of your chicken. Squash them in there. And two, the vegetables, how much you need, what you use, is what you're making it for. So if you're not gonna feed a whole lot, or if you don't really want leftovers all in one meal, just, kind of go for your portion size that you need that way. And then with our green beans, I have about 1 to 2 pounds of green beans, and like I said too, enough to feed my family. And I did go ahead and wash, and I just cut them in half, or snapped them in half, I guess more to say. And I'll just lay these on the other side. Really any combination of vegetable works for this dish. Use what you have. Today I'm going with the fresh version, which you can get out of now your garden, of course, or your local grocery store or a local farmer's market, wherever you can find what you're looking for, or you can also use canned or your frozen. And the recipe itself actually does call for 2 cans of beans. And if you do go with the can, just go ahead and make sure and drain and rinse it. I can't quite fit all mine in. I'll probably squeeze them in some way or another, but use what you have, what you want to use, make it your own, make it fun. Maybe you even want to do a few more vegetable choices than just the 2. Just whatever works for your family. So there we go. Now, next up, we will go ahead and season this. So as you can see now, I kind of flip views there so you get a good picture of what's going on here. So to season it, same, really simple. I'm just gonna go ahead and have a little bit of olive oil, and I'm just gonna kind of drizzle all over everything so it gets, a light coat. And as it bakes too, it's definitely gonna spread around to get that in there. And then I'm gonna season, and today I am gonna season everything with a little zesty homemade Italian dressing that I made. And inside, and there it is, you can just kind of see it. It calls for about 2 tablespoons of whatever kind of homemade seasonings that you wish. And you definitely don't have to do that much, just enough so it seasons to your liking. My seasoning itself has 2 tablespoons, it's 2 tablespoons, and it has 1 tablespoon of parsley, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of marjoram, a 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of sugar, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and then a pinch of pepper. I just put a few dashes in there. And like I said, this recipe itself calls for 2 tablespoons. My recipe makes pretty close to that, so I am probably going to use most of it. And just to kind of shake it and spread it around a little bit. But any seasoning can work for this, and if your recipe makes more than that, you're you know, save it for later and you can reuse it like on the same type of dish or in a salad. It's really just nice to have those homemade seasoning combinations on hand so you can whip them out when you need them. But also, you know, don't be afraid to step away from the plate. You don't have to go with the zesty Italian. You can do any flavor combination that you really like. You know, a Cajun would be really good on this, or some ranch dressing. But check out my recipe packet for this week. There's more recipe combination ideas so that you can use some low salt, no salt ideas to get that flavoring. Also, just going ahead and using some Mrs. Dash and flavoring away on here works well. And of course, as always, there is the zesty Italian seasoning packets that you can buy in the grocery store and season it that way. But those sometimes are high in sodium, and making your own, you can control those types of things. So at this point, we're ready to go into the oven. It's going to cook for 1 hour at 350 degrees. I will probably check about half an hour, 45 minutes through. You know, the most thing that's going to take the longest is going to be those potatoes. So there we go. All right, so we are here at the halfway point of cooking. 30 minutes, that is. Everything's still a little bit crunchy, so because my pan was super full, it might take a little bit longer, but it looks nummy, and you can certainly start to smell those Italian seasonings in there. So it's looking good, so I will be back in a little bit. All right, so our zesty chicken and vegetables is all done, and I have them plated up, and it looks delicious and smells even better. Those Italian flavors are great. I just want to talk about some of the nutritional value on our plate here today. As you can see, there's some good color, our green vegetables, and our variety of color from our potatoes. And I mean, our protein's protein, that's kind of how it goes. Another thing I want to kind of talk about a little bit is when we visualize our plates, that we kind of want to, you know, think about it in halves and quarters. And on this half, we always kind of want to leave that space for our starch-free vegetables. So and next, or carbohydrate-free also, sorry. That would be our green beans today. And then we'll split our other side of our plate in 2 halves and quarters. So you have your starchy vegetable on top, which is a vegetable today, but it could also be rice or something like that. And then always our bottom corner will be our protein. So another way to think about how you want to make your plate besides seeing color. So just another thing to think about. Like I said today, you know, we went back to the sheet pan meals because they are always so versatile. So looking kind of specifically at what we have today, we did go with our chicken as our protein, but you can certainly always do like a pork loin, pork chops, meatloaf, even like some cut up sausage, and that could be pork, chicken, or turkey, whatever you might have. Today our vegetables, of course, are these green beans and our combination of potatoes here, but any vegetable combination would work. Just use what you have, you know, coming in from your garden, so it might change a little bit every time, from a farmer's market, or what you can have, you know, canned or frozen, you know, that all works fabulously. And then the seasoning as well today, like I said earlier, you know, we went with the zesty Italian kind of combination, but you can do Cajun, ranch, any Mrs. Dash, you know, no salt, low salt seasoning combination works to make it your own. So you can definitely recreate this in many different ways and still using the same concept. So with that, I really do just want to thank you guys for watching. I sure hope that you enjoyed some of my new ideas on creating these sheet pan meals today. So I just want to remind you to check out thewhiteearth.com for today's recipe, along with other sheet pan meal recipes and ideas and combination, or seasoning combination ideas, excuse me. So happy cooking, and we hope to see you next week.